What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Bill. This is Matt. That's the Tatsquatch, which you've probably seen. And today we are doing interior light. Again. Now, if you watched the channel, you know we installed the IAG prototype lights on Matt's over a year ago. They're super awesome. IAG finally came out with the real ones, and we installed their real ones. Their production ones, which we went ahead and installed those on mine. And we were going to change Matt's over from the prototype to the new one just so he could have the switch. Because on the prototype, the lights work, but the only way time they work is when you open the door. There's no way to switch them on or off. Like with mine, I have it on a, what are those things called?
Upfitter switch.
Upfitter. I have mine on an upfitter switch where I could turn it on if I'd ever need to turn the lights on without opening the door. And we were going to rewire his up so he would have that option. But lo and behold, there's another option on the market now, and that is from Mabett. Mabett, I assume it's Mabett. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know how to spell it, but they sell a ton of stuff on Amazon. I'll put a link to their store down in the description. But one of the things they came out with, well, two things. First was they came out with a replacement dome light. So instead of the little dinky dome light that's currently in the back of the Bronco, they have this, which puts out light in several directions, and it's supposed to light everything up. It's plug and play. Just pry out the old one and pry that in. So that alone should light up the rear end of the Bronco much better than it currently does. But they also came out with their own version of the 4 lights like the IAG ones that we have. Now the wiring on this does not go to a fuse. You don't have to wire it down the A-pillar or anything like that. The wiring just goes straight back to where that light goes in the rear, and it functions off the same interior light switch. So if you push the button in the upper console to turn your interior lights on, it'll turn that on, and it'll turn all those on. So you have a switch, and it should work with the doors, and you don't have to use an upfitter switch. You don't have to splice anything into the fuse box, which with the IAG ones, the hardest thing to do is find the right wire and splice into it. And I could see where some people would not be super happy with having to do that. This is going to be an easier to install system, and we'll see how the light compares. But I think between that and this all together, I think Matt's going to have the same amount, if not more, light output. He will have similar lights to what he currently has, replacing that super dim. I don't even know if you can pick up on the camera how that small light back there that puts out absolutely no light. And then it'll just all tie in to your button here. So if you turn that button on, it turns on everything. So first things first, we just got to pop that out, and the other one pops right back in. But before we plug it in, we do have to do some wiring, and then we'll also have to remove these lights, and I think he wants to put them under his hood or somewhere that doesn't have lighting. That I think maybe we could put them on the front somewhere. We'll eventually turn this into that one meme with the truck with just the wall of lights on the front.
Oh, yeah. We put tape flashlights.
Yeah, but yeah, let's dig into this and see what all is involved. So this is the super bright light that we are going to be replacing. Should just pop out of there. All right, so we should just have to pry it from the side, and I had more luck getting to the front first, and then get to the side and pop it right out. So then there's just a small clip here, you pinch and pull out. And if if all we were doing is changing this light, we'd be done pretty much. We just plug the other light in and push it up there. But we're going to go ahead and install the other lighting, and all that does is there's an additional wire that's going to plug in here and run the wires off to run to the other lights, and then we'll plug the other side of that into, if you're, that just went all the way, no, not quite all the way down. So if you were not replacing this, you don't have to replace this light. You would just do the pigtail in between here and here and put this light back in. But since we're taking this out and we're replacing this anyway, we're just going to go ahead and leave this out. And from here, we'll switch over to do the install for these other lights. And then when we go to plug this back in, we'll plug in the Mabett rear light that's going to replace this one. So let's go ahead and get the other lights out and we'll see what's up with those. All right, so here's our wiring harness. Okay, this looks just like the plug that's hanging down, and what's going to plug into either your existing light if you're replacing the OEM one, or that's going to plug into the Mabett one, and then this just plugs in onto the other side. So we'll plug this in. We'll have this wire here to plug the rear light into, and then you have two sides, one for passenger, one for driver's side, that are going to run over to your other interior lights. So just like we did with the other side, there's those two screws on this front piece, and then there's 3 screws on that black back plastic piece that go along the top that cover the side airbags. We'll go ahead and take those screws out and take these off, and then we can route our wires and get everything in place. All right, so we're just, like I said, we're just taking, well, that bolt's barely even in there. But taking these 3 bolts out so we could take this piece off along with this light, and then there's 2 bolts in the front. Take that off. And yes, these bolts are about twice as long as you would expect them to be. And you put that light up there, and then this just comes off, and we'll do the same up there. And then take those pillars off. I'll do the same thing on the driver's side, and then we can route all the wiring. So the instructions say to remove a bolt. I don't know which bolt they're referring to. I don't think that's necessary. Maybe there's something hidden that we don't see because of the sound bar here, but we should have enough flex in here to just kind of pull this whole thing down, feed this in. Like so, and then run one to the left. And then do the same thing, go in the other direction. And I got the wires going up there and up here. And here you can see with the IAG ones, we grounded the wires here and spliced them in and ran the wires forward. The difference here is we're going to have the same wire connections here and here, but we're running them to the back and just splicing them in. And as far as splicing them goes, it's just plugging the OEM wire into this, tucking that all in, and then you just have this replacement wire. Like I said, if we were doing the OEM one, we could just snap that back in there, or since we're doing the replacement, we'll snap that in after. We'll probably clean this all up a little bit first, then snap that in, and the rear light's done. Next, I'll go ahead and take these bolts out just so we can undo the ground straps and remove these lightings, and then we'll put the Mabett ones in their place. Just kind of tucking these wires up in there. Then we're going to take our lights, get to peel the plastic, and then just got a little clip on the end. It's going to clip right into these.
Make sure the right ones.
I believe it's long one in the back, short one in the front. Their diagram doesn't make it very super easy to tell, but pretty sure that's how they were. Yeah, I mean, they'll only fit in there one way, but you make sure that this little clip here snaps in.
And the light's facing down.
And that you get the light there. And then we will start putting these panels back on in the order they came off. Do you have the short one for up here? All right, so we just put this into place. Make sure the wire's going to tuck back behind there. And then we'll put our screws back in, just like they came out. And where's the... It's just not plugged into the dome light.
Oh.
Or maybe that dome light needs to be plugged in too. I don't see any lights coming on in here. Oh, the key's not. No key detected.
Oh, it's detect away.
There we go. They popped on.
The doors are open. Oh, okay.
So I could turn them on and off with that switch. And then we turn it off, turn the engine off. They should work with the door, but maybe because they're not all plugged in, they're being a little
And it's probably
weird.
timed out for the doors being open.
So, but it does work with the switch. I see them lighting up. So we'll go ahead and continue chugging away. And it looks like if you did have a hard top, because that was initially we had an issue with the IAG ones where if you had the hard top bracket on there, these lights sat up too high and would hit that bracket. But it seems like these are designed lower profile, so they will fit under there. If you did have that bracket, it still wouldn't be an issue. And you just go ahead and run them just like they are. And these screws don't have to be super tight. From factory, they're just snug. They're not like cranked way down or anything. So just make sure they're snug. That's on, that light's in place. We'll move to the back piece and get that installed. All right, and now this back piece. So we did find out that these lights are they are made for each side, because we had this and it was upside down and it didn't make sense. But now when we put this piece on, we get this lined up, that hole will go there and it sets the same direction as that with the light facing down, which makes all the sense in the world considering that's how it should go. So then we could get a screw started back here. And obviously if you don't have these handles, you just wouldn't install them. There you go, yeah, and those definitely are low profile enough that if you have a hard top prep kit or a hard top kit in here, that's still going to work, because that bracket sits up this high and that's got clearance for that. So these should work regardless of what top you have. So we'll do the same thing just to reinstall them on that side, and then we'll come back and install the last part of it, which is the cargo area light, and be done with it. All right, so all of our other lights are in. Everything's hooked up. The only thing left is this, and let's verify which direction that's supposed to go, like so, or like, yep. Well, it only fits in there one way, so we're good to go. Now, it had some 3M tape on there, and some people were saying they were having problems with this clipping in or not staying. So Jody, Bird Dog Off-Road Adventures, had mentioned putting some extra tape. Matt's always got some extra 3M tape around, so we went ahead and put those in there. So we'll take all these off, and then this just gets plugged right in, and then these should clip in just like the OEM light, but then we got some extra adhesive here to make sure it just stays up and tight all the way around. So the fun part is pulling the backing off of all this tape. Comes right off, or it doesn't come off at all. Okay. So cue a 6-hour time lapse of trying to remove tape. All right, so this just should plug right in, like so.
It should click.
Yes.
Sometimes it has to be pushed really hard, I've heard. You should test it before sticking.
Yes. Can you push the, or I'll hold that and you push the button and see if it does buttony type things. We got lights all over the place now. So lights on, lights on, lights on, lights on. It looks like we have all the lights on. We'll get this turned around so it actually goes in there. And it just snaps right into place. Looks like we were one of the lucky ones where, because it did actually snap into place and pulled everything up tight to it from the beginning. It's
not going anywhere.
It is not going anywhere. So you got the little indicator here. Got a light going back, highlights your bar, which if the bar wasn't there, it'd kind of highlight the trunk space a little bit. Same with this going straight down. Probably remove that so it's not rattling around later, wondering what is that. And then some light coming forward. Don't know why those lights aren't on. Let's close all the doors and see what happens. So if you lock the door, they turn right off. They don't quite fade out like the IG ones. You switch them on or unlock the door, they come right on. Same with the backlight. Now if we just let them turn off by themselves whenever you go to open the door, then they would come on naturally. As far as how much output they are, I don't know. They look like they might be a little less bright. I think the IG may be a bit brighter. It's hard to tell until it gets dark out for sure. But that rear cargo light is an improvement over the OEM cargo light for sure. And the side lights, we'll have to wait till it gets really dark to see how much difference there is. Looking in daylight, it seems like the IAG lights are going to be a little bit brighter than these, but I imagine probably at night these do a good enough job. So we'll have to wait till it gets dark and find out for sure. But yeah, that's it. As far as install goes, Mabett gets the win on that. The installation is much easier, just because running a wire down this pillar and tapping in to a wire in the wire bundle going into the fuse box, it's a really difficult spot. It's hard to find the wire and really tap into it. With the Mabett, you don't have to run any wiring down here. It's just just running those wires back to here and tapping into that wire. You don't have to do any wire splicing whatsoever. So for that reason, I would give the win to Mabett, and the fact that it just ties into your regular lights. Anyway, I think IG may be a bit brighter overall. So if you need brightness, IG would win in that battle. So it's really a matter of preference. I mean, I think they both look great. They both definitely add much more light than is available by stock. And Matt, maybe you'll send us some pictures once it gets dark, if you're not still here when it's dark. But and we'll go ahead and insert those in here now, some views of what it looks like, and I'll do a comparison to what mine looks like when it's dark. Other than that, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. Be sure to check out Matt on Instagram at tat_squatch or tattoomatt71. And be sure to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.